If you are a scholar in any field, you absolutely have to have a larger community to feel a part of, to have a sense of the questions that you're asking, to have an audience for your insights and your interests. The International Society for the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning is the international community of scholars for teachers who care about inquiry into their students' learning. You can't advance knowledge in isolation. Knowledge is always developed and advanced in a community, and ISSOTL is the community for scholars of teaching and learning.
There are larger conversations that you can plug into that a lot of campuses have other people working on similar projects. They sometimes go by other names, not Scholarship of Teaching and Learning, but classroom assessment or classroom action research. Often you can plug in to conversations about that through the Teaching Center. There are also then places to go with your thinking really at any stage of its progress. There are regional conferences around North America and around the world, and then there's the International Society for the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning Conference, which opens up a lot of chances to talk with other people from quite different contexts, which can help you understand your own context better through that kind of process of defamiliarization.
I've been part of ISSOTL since the beginning, and before that with the Carnegie work. And it just is so clear to me the value of grounding all of our work in this study. And I just think it's helpful as a grounding. And it's a good reminder constantly that the work that we're doing in terms of disciplinary-based scholarship, studying teaching, it's all about learning. And I think that's one of the main things that ISSOTL does, is it keeps reminding us of the importance of keeping the student learning in focus at all times. And so I think that's really a part of the benefit of it. It's just that constant reminder, because it's so easy, I think, for our own research to become the center of the world. It's like that Texan's view of the United States, where Texas is the entire map, you know. I think it's really easy for us to forget that the whole point is learning, and that is something ISSOTL does. It doesn't keep the focus on the teaching or the discipline. It's on the learning. And there's something about, well, Randy used the language of translation in this volume, translational, that it's constantly about this research needs to have implications for student learning. And ISSOTL does that.
There's some interesting properties of the SOTL community writ large. ISSOTL as an organization or a society, but also the other Scholarship of Teaching and Learning communities that exist independently. One is that it's a very welcoming community. In general, people their first instinct is to be supportive. So innovation is valued, even if innovation doesn't result in a piece of evidence that you could sell to everybody. So in that sense, maybe it's just early in the evolution of this community, but it's an incredibly welcoming place. Second, it's wonderfully interdisciplinary. You can be having a conversation with somebody whose field you do not understand at all, and you couldn't evaluate a student work. But there is the same shared idea of, well, what does it take to get students to what I consider to be good work? And many of us find that interdisciplinarity to be really interesting and to be a refreshing alternative to our normal academic communities. And this group in particular, ISSOTL, is in fact international. And we vary what country we meet in. So there's often a larger number of people from the host country. But there's always a diversity, and people come from very far away and continue to contribute. So that's another feature of it. that it gives you a sense that this is not just an issue you are dealing with your students, as if they're the only students on the planet who are that way, or that if you have a change agenda with your colleagues, that your colleagues are the only ones who don't want to see things in a new way. So I just like the feel of that as an international organization.
We are at a point as a field where we're having these continuing conversations, and we've influenced each other and we've shaped each other's ways of thinking about things, and that's good. That's what we want to have happen.
ISSOTL is unlike other professional organizations that I'm a member of because it's so international and so interdisciplinary. So an ISSOTL conference session, for example, might have people in my field from very different countries talking about a similar sorts of question. It might include people not in my field, but bringing literature that I'd never heard of into conversation on a question that I care about. So one thing ISSOTL does for me is it really opens up my understanding of questions and helps me challenge some of the assumptions that I have about how learning works or how teaching works, how my discipline works, because I'm encountering people who have similar sorts of questions in very different contexts.
People go to ISSOTL conferences and feel as though others are speaking their language, and they get some good feedback there and also can find collaborators that way. So that keeps the energy going for SOTL projects.
I think that people who are just new to SOTL will find this intellectually stimulating and a passionate process. I don't think that any academic is in the business of academia without having the passion for teaching their students. And SOTL gives you a way to talk about it with other people who are equally passionate, and it gives you a way to systematically look at that learning so that you maximize what you're doing in your classroom for your students. I think everybody benefits then when we share that knowledge across boundaries and borders and internationally.
ISSOTL is a very welcoming conference and organization. You can come from a wide variety of disciplines and feel at home here. You will pick up on some differences of opinion. There are some tensions, just like there are in any field, in any area of study, but people are really share a common bond around learning. They're really eager to help you pursue your projects, to learn from you, to share what they've learned. So it's a very supportive environment. The other benefit of ISSOTL, we already have this well-established conference that you can attend and meet people and network and learn from people as they're presenting their projects. But now we have a great journal as well where you can contribute scholarship to it. You can also read some of the cutting-edge research, not just from your discipline and your country, but from international contexts and international scholars in an array of disciplines. So it's a rich professional organization, probably one of the most welcoming that I'm a member of, and one of the professional organizations that I get the most out of continually.